I think this is the first batch I am taking this much time like to explain all these flow steps. Usually I will complete in 2 days actually. Don't know why. Branch completed, repeat also, and then loop. So yesterday we have checked on the loop. So what is the importance of input? Like when you use the input array, output array, and then so there is a one more dollar loop variable. Okay, actually these are the properties of the loop. So you can see the input array, which is a required element. So you have to give the list element on which you want to loop over. So once you give the input array, so it will loop over all the elements from first element to the last element without any condition. So it will go over all the elements. Okay, output array. So if you want to generate one more array from the input array, you'll give the output array. Okay, there will be a $iteration variable which will tell you on which iteration you are in. Note that our input array index starts from 0. Okay, so if you have 5 elements, first element will be variable of 0 and the last element will be like for example you have 5 elements, 5 minus 1, so variable of 4, and this iteration always starts from 1. Index starts from 0, iteration starts from 1. Okay, and if you want to go over like sub elements, you have to write one more loop. So for this first one, you'll write one loop on link items, and if you want to loop over all these elements, again you have to write one more loop, line item slash additional product codes like this. Okay, so this additional product codes is an array inside line items array. So in order to access this, you have to first loop over this and then this. Okay, loop consideration. This input array and output array. Then, like before you apply the loop, it will be the list element, but once you apply the loop, it will be a single element. And then you can add them. Okay. Next important thing is sequence. Okay. So the sequence is nothing but like this is the one which you are seeing up here, the sequence. Okay. So once you open the sequence, these are the properties for it. So you'll see extra one as exit on. Okay, sequence is nothing but like you can put the number of statements inside it. It will be maintained as a kind of block. So my sequence is a block. You can write n number of sub elements. For example, I can write like this. Okay, so all these are belongs to this particular sequence, and all these are the sub services inside a main sequence. Okay, sequence is nothing but if you want to maintain like a group, then you will use the sequence. Okay, for the sequence, you'll say exit on failure. So for example, in this sequence we have 10 elements. Okay, so when this sequence has to be exited, so when this sequence has to be executed, so when I say exit on failure, for example, if I have 10 inside it, and whenever I see the first failure, I will exit. Even though I have, for example, say I have 10, fifth element is a failure. I don't want to go for the remaining. I want to skip and go to next level. Then I will say exit on failure. When I say exit on failure, so it will exit from the sequence whenever there is a failure. I mean first failure. If I say exit on success, so it will exit. For example, I have 10. First one is failed. The second one is passed. So I got the success on the second one. So it will wait for the success and then will exit from the sequence. And when I say exit and done, it will complete all the child steps inside a sequence. So I will show in the PPT, that will be clear. For example, I'm saying, so what are the properties for the exit? So you can exit on failure, success, and done. When I say exit and done, here is example. I have one sequence. Under sequence, I have 6 childs. Okay, the first step is success. Okay, when I say set to done, exit and done, that means it has to execute all the statements inside it. It should not exit anywhere. Even though it's a failure or success, it has to exit all of them. Since I said done, unless until it complete all the child steps of this sequence, it should not exit. So it will, second one also success, it will go to third one, even though it's a failure, it will still go to the fourth, because I said exit and done. You have to exit only after completing all the childs. And then this is also success, this is also success. Once completing all these child steps, then only it will come out from the sequence to the next. So next, exit on failure. So what is the meaning of exit on failure? It will be waiting for the first failure. Once it receives the failure, then it will exit. It won't proceed with the next child steps. You'll see. The first statement is success, second statement is success, third statement is failure. So I said set to failure, exit on failure. So whenever I get the failure, I have to exit from the sequence. I don't go to the remaining. Next one, exit on success. So I will be looking for the first success. If I receive the first success, then I don't need to go for the remaining. I will come out from the sequence. So if you see, the first step itself is a success. If it was failed, then it will go to the next. Okay. So this is success. So I will exit from the sequence since I received the success. So this step will say to the sequence, I am success. So it will come out. If it should have say I am failed, then it will go to the next step. Is this clear? And the sequence. So what happens if you set to success, fail, and then done? Because this understanding is important to go with the next. So this is like a little bit confused, but just say when what happens when you set to exit on success, exit on failure, and exit on done. So exit on failure if you set, so whenever there is a failure in the sequence, it will come out from the sequence, it won't go to the next child step. So if you set exit to success, so the first success it will be waiting, I mean like in the child step. So if it receives a success, then it won't go to the child step, it will come out from there. The exit and done, even though success or failure, it has to complete all the steps. Okay. So this condition may be failure, success, or done. Exit on. Okay, we'll come to exit next. So one more important thing is in the sequence. So you know now success, failure, and done. By using the sequence, we will achieve the try catch, I mean exception handling. So for any language, exception handling is important. Otherwise, you don't know what exact error you are getting it and how you have to respond for that. Okay, so we'll see how we will execute exception handling here. One second. Okay, so in the regular, for example, if you're writing in the Java, okay, so you're writing some code, so you'll start something like this, try, okay, inside try block, you'll be having some statements, and then if you receive the catch, I mean, it will be having your catch block, and then there will be one more finally block, but it's an optional. Okay, so your entire logic will go up here. For example, write some code. Okay, you are executing it. So if something happened inside it, if you get any error, it will come to your catch block, and in catch block you will write what exception how you want to handle this particular exception. For example, I am connecting to database. Okay, if you receive a connectivity issue, then either it has to send an email or it has to retry again, like that. Okay, so this catch block will do, and finally means like even though if it is a success or failure, this final block has to be executed. Even if it executed, and one more thing, so whenever you are running, if you're not receiving any fail step here, it should not go to catch block. It has to go to catch block only when there is a failure here. When there is a failure in the try catch block, I mean like try block, then only it has to go to catch. If all the statements are success, then it will come to finally block. Clear? This is how our regular try catch block. Okay, so how we will achieve this in the web methods? So we will achieve this in the web methods by using the sequence. So see, so you have to use 3 sequences for finally one more extra. Okay. First, take 2 sequences or like forget about the finally. Okay, we'll talk about only try catch. Okay, for try catch, you have to get one, commit it as a main. It's your main sequence. Inside main sequence, you have to write 2 child sequences. One for try and one for catch. Okay, these are all only comments. Okay, see, for main, you have to set up exit on success. For try, you have to set it up exit on failure. For this, you have to set exit on done. This is your catch block. Okay, success, failure, done. This is your main sequence. Inside main sequence, there will be 2 subsequences. For first one, you are making it as a try and you are putting exit on failure. Second one, you are making it as a catch block and you are putting it as a exit on done. Okay, we will see how this works. See, for main, I am saying one of these 2 has to success to exit from the main. For the try, it has to exit only when there is a failure. Okay, the catch, even though there is a success or failure, it has to execute all the steps inside a catch block. For example, I have a logic of like writing entire code, the whole logic it will go inside your try block. For example, I'm taking one map step. Okay, and then I'm executing another sub service, and then one more service, and then one more service. So this is my actual code which I am writing. So the entire logic of your code has to go inside the try block. Okay, so the catch block first step should be in the WM public folder. Okay, there is a get lost error. WM public file flow. Okay, so pub.flow.get lost error. The first statement should be in our catch get lost error, because if there is any failure in the try, it won't give you what happened, by using this get lost error, you will receive the failure. Okay, we'll see how it works. For example, I'm inside the first. When you run the service, it will come to main. So I set main to success. So one of the one of its child step has to success. Then only it will exit from the main. So for the main, childs are try and catch. Okay, the first child is try. So it will go to try. So once I come into try, so it will be exit on failure. So it will exit only when there is a failure. Okay, so otherwise it will be success. So main will exit. For example, say there is a failure here inside it. So my sequence will exit and it will say to the main, I am failed. So this won't be satisfied the condition because it's waiting for success. So it will go to the next child step, which is a catch block. And I said exit and done. Even though there is a failure inside, it won't consider and it will throw a trigger saying that I am success. So catch block will always throw a success to the main. So even though try got 10, it's a failure, but catch will be always success. So you can exit from the main. Confusing? It will be good if you give some feedback. I have only 3 participants now. Pinchurity and Vivek. Who's the other one? Okay. So in order to complete your exception handling, you need one try block and one catch block. Okay. So for this main, you will take one sequence and you will put it as a exit on success. Even if all the cases are failure, then also catch will send success to main sequence. Yes, because I said the catch block has to be exit on done. Done means this all the subsequences. It won't consider whether it's a failure or success. It will always consider all the child steps are success and then it will say I am success. I completed all the steps actually. It will say I complete all the steps. Okay. Because we put it on a done. If you have put it on exit on success or exit on failure, then that time only it will show whether it's a failure or success. If you put done, it will always success. I will repeat one more time. So you have to take the main service and one more thing. So this exception handling is mandatory for every service. Okay. So without exception handling, you should not start writing a code. When you start writing a flow service, the first step should be writing a exception handling like this. And everyone will ask the same question: how do you implement exception handling in your flow service? Oops, 1 second, guys. Sorry. Okay, so the question will be, how do you implement the exception handling in your flow service? So you have to tell them, like, I will take one main sequence and inside that main sequence two subsequences. For the main sequence, I will put it as exit on success, and then for the try, I will maintain it as a failure, and this catch, I will take it as a exit on done. So what happens if I write all my code inside my try? For example, all the logic will be here. For example, say my aim is to complete all these steps. If there is any failure, I want to know what the failure exactly. So if you not write like this, it will exit. For example, okay, I have nothing in my try and catch. I will take one service. So throwing an exception from the mathematical operations will be easy because we know what values we have to pass. Let me go to math. Say, okay, add-ins. I'm passing number 1 as 10, number 2 as 20. Okay, control S, run flow service. Okay, what it's giving? Number 1, number 2, value as 30. So which is a successful operation. But when I change these inputs, see, there is an exception. You see this red mark and it's an exception. But when you're running from your designer, you can see this exception message. Okay, but when you're calling this service from the another service, or when you're calling it in the dynamic way, you don't know, like from other service you are running it, or like from external source you are running it, so you won't get this message to that parent service. Okay, it will just say it's a failed. You won't be able to know why it was failed. So if, and even you don't know whether this particular service got failed or success. Okay, in runtime, for example, I am receiving like 10 orders from the customer. Out of 10, okay, 8 orders has good data and 2 had the bad data. But if you are not writing your exception handling, you don't know how to get the exception when the 2 orders were failed. So in the runtime, what it does is, when there is a failure, it will just exit. It won't notify you. Okay, it will say, it will like whenever there is a failure, it just executes, it will stop. Okay, you don't know whether it's failed or success. So in these cases, you want to know whenever there is a failure. Okay, for that purpose, you will write the exception handling. So in this case, for example, my try block will be having this particular service. Okay, so you will receive the get lost error. From that get lost error, you can actually send an email. So this email will be triggered only when there is a failure. If it is a success, then you won't receive any email. But if it is a failure, then you will receive email. But if you did not write anything in the catch block, in the real time, you won't get any alert. So you don't know whether your 10 orders got failed or processed successfully. Is this example clear? Like gives you some idea? Just comment. Okay, thank you. So we'll see how is it actually working the try catch block. And one more thing, so there is no way you can see the map step will either failed, it will always be success. So for the try catch or like anything, so map step won't throw whether it says failed or success. Okay, map step you should not consider. For example, this map is right, for that math added it says service. So when I run this service, it will say to try block whether it's a failure or success. So try block is waiting for failure. So every child step it has to tell whether that particular step was failed or success. So in this case, the add-ins will tell try block. If it is a success, it will say I am success. If it is a failed, it will say I am failed. But map step never say whether it's a failed or success. Okay. So there will be some more questions coming up. Just concentrate. But as of now, we'll see how a simple try catch block will work. See, I am in my main sequence. For this main sequence, try and catch are the subsequences. My main I set to exit on success. So either try or catch has to success to exit from the main. Okay, it came to try because that's the first step inside a main. And then map step it executed successfully and then pub that math add-ins which will fail. Did I set up the values, input values? See. So I received a failure here, add-ins. So it won't go to next map step. It directly come to your catch block. Since I said this, try to exit on failure. So this add-ins will say to try, I am failed. So it's waiting for fail. So it will say to main, I am failed. Please go to the next substep. So it will come to your catch block, and from your catch block that get lost error will be executed and it will give you the input saying that actually what was the issue. Completed. This is the result. Okay, it will say error java.lang.number format exception for input string dfid. Since I passed the input saying I'm not able to convert that string to a number. Okay, sometimes the once you tell this, okay, they may ask you to change this success to failure. Okay, one sec. So first you will say like how do you implement the try catch block or exception handling. You will say you will take main sequence, you will put it as exit on success and then exit on failure and exit on done. So what he will say here, he will mention instead of exit on success, he will say exit on done. What will happen? Can you guys tell me what happens when I set main to exit on done? Anyone? Now, if you see this one exit on done, and this has exit on failure, and this has exit on done. What happens now to our service? Anyone can tell. Start with one, and then we can go with others. That's correct. Whatever Aruna said, it's correct. So it will, since I said main, exit and done. So for this main, these two are the chase. So it has to execute all the steps inside your main block. So even though if there is any failure here, it will say I am failed. I don't care whether you fail or success. I will still go to the next. So it will execute all the steps inside it. For example, say now I put it as a exit and done here. So in this case, it will execute try and it will execute catch also. So even though there is a failure or success here, it will still go to the catch. But my aim is whenever there is a failure here, it should not come to catch. Sorry, whenever there is a failure, then only it has to come to catch. In other cases, it should not come. Okay, only my try has to execute, not the catch. Okay, just change the parameters and try on your own. Okay, you have to practice it, otherwise it will be like little confused. Once you start practicing, it will be clear. Okay, start practicing. Start practicing. Otherwise, you will forget everything. Once I complete the class, tomorrow it will be blank. So if you start practicing today, then only you will remember. Because this is not the one like which we are doing from our childhood. It's just there's no way of learning. You have to practice it. Okay. Next will be the exit. Okay, so exit, if you want to exit from the some place, like for example you are executing a service, but suddenly you see a failure and you want to exit from there, and you don't want to continue. So if you see here the sequence, okay, try cache block. So it will exit only when there is a failure. No, not that. Hello. Yes, Consulate.
So it will execute all the steps in the catch. Okay. Then we will.
I'm not able to hear you. Can you be loud?
But it will execute all the last step in the catch. Until last step in the catch, then it will execute. It will exit.
Correct. Because you said this catch so it will exit all the steps in the catch block, then it will exit. But the first step in your catch block should be get last error. Okay, because by using this step, you'll get what error you're receiving it, and then you'll continue. For example, I want to send an email. Okay, so there will be one service called the SMTP. Okay, so by using this SMTP service, okay, so you'll write to whom you want to send, to whom you have to CC, and what is the message. You can put in the body. Okay, you can put the subject, and you can send an email. Maybe subject say like if you are running the orders, order interface failed. Okay, so body will be having the error message with the detail level. Okay. Even though sending SMTP failed. Okay, so if you want write, you can write one more, or like you won't be able to do anything. It has to come out. Okay. Is that okay? Can I proceed with the next one? So if you see this try block, you are saying exit on failure, but it will exit only when there is a failure, but not that. So I am checking one condition. If that condition satisfies, then only I want to go to the next steps. If condition is not satisfying, I want to exit from that and I want to go to the some other place. That time you will use the exit. Okay, exit is used to exit from some place by using the label, or by using the exit you can exit from the loop, or if you have any label, I mean like this identifier like this, and you want to exit from the start to the next, then you will say exit, and you can exit from a flow. The entire flow will be exited. And then exit from parent. For example, you are writing here, this will be your parent. So you want to exit from parent, you can write that. And exit with success, exit with failure and reason. Sometimes you may exit when there is a success, and sometimes you will exit when there is a failure. So you have to say you are exiting based on a success or based on a failure. So for example, if I am writing my exit here, I want to specify signal, whether it's a success operation or failure operation, why I am exiting. Since I receive failure, I am exiting, or since I receive a success, I don't need to go further. I am okay, I am exiting now. So you can specify whether it's a failure or success, or you can print the message also. If it's a fail, then you'll say why you are exiting, what is the message. Okay, exit from there. So if you did not specify anything, it will assume there is a loop. You are exiting from the loop. So we know loop, right? If you have 100 variables inside a loop, it will execute from 1 to 100. For example, I want to exit when there is a fifth element satisfies my condition. I won't be able to exit. In order to exit from the loop and come to the next step, so you'll write one exit and say exit from loop. Okay, in normal scenario, you won't be able to exit from the loop. It will start from like first element till it will go to the last element. For example, you are checking for one value. Last time we did, right? So I am checking for Venkat. Whenever I see the Venkat, I have to exit from the loop. Where did we do that? Inner loop, right? Or loop example. Loop examples, names, branch and names. Whenever so instead of a map step, I will use the sequence. Okay, for this one, I will write it as a Venkat. So sequence will use to group the steps. So if I am having only one step, I can still go with the map. I have to group multiple steps inside Venkat. Once I see Venkat, okay, I have to exit from the loop and I need to do something else. Okay, so I have to first set the variable. Okay, it's true, and then I have to exit. Okay, the default step, how to put it here. Okay. So if I did not specify anything here, exit from, it will loop over from the names and it will come to the next step. All will equal to true. But if you see like last example, I always receive the is Venkat available to false because it will go. It's going to the next step. Now you can debug and check it. So earlier I did not add the exit step. So it's going to the JKL. JKL is not equal to Venkat. So it's giving the false. See, I'm in the first map step. Okay, I inside the loop and exit in the loop with the iteration 1. I mean like first element, and it will check name. Name is not matching with Venkat, so it's go to default. And again, name is not matching to Venkat, go to default. Third one also not matching with the Venkat, so it will again go to default. Fourth one will match, it will go to third one again. So fourth one matches Venkat, it will go to map and it will go to exit. I told you, if I did not mention anything on the exit, from where you want to exit, I did not mention from where I want to exit. By default, it assumes the loop. Okay, I want to exit from the loop, so it will come to this step. We'll see. So you are in the exit now. See, it came to map step, and again next map step. Even I can specify the explicitly. I can specify exit from loop. When you want to exit from loop, you don't need to specify. I don't want to go to these two steps. I want to exit from the flow, and I can set this. You can debug again. See, it came to map and it's saying exit flow. When I say exit flow, the entire flow has to be exited. It should not come to these two. See, everything got executed and I get the result. And if you have like 1,000 steps and you want to move from one place to another place also, you can do that. For example, so this is one example. And for example, say I have one sequence. Inside I have one more sequence, or like let's say for example, if I have some services like this and I'm checking some condition here and it satisfies this particular condition, I want to exit from the sequence. I should not go to the next steps. For example, even though I have next steps, I don't want step. Wait, one sec. It will go to the next step, which is inside your sequence. Okay. So in this case, I will say the exit here. Okay, I will maintain one name for it. Label say test. Okay, so I can specify here exit from test. So it will exit from the this sequence and it will go to the next map step. Okay, so you can specify any label from where you want to exit. Okay, and this exit should be inside that particular label. Okay, is exit clear? So these two are the important: exit from signal and then failure message when they want to pass any failure message. Okay. So next we'll see the mappings and then JDBC. Okay, mappings we'll see now itself. Then JDBC we'll see next time. Okay. So as of now, what we have done with the mapping. Okay. So you just drag and drop. Correct. So you have one input and output, and you will be just dragging and dropping them. So there are few more what you can do. So last time we have seen the stubbing. Stubbing is nothing but like if you want to hard code any value, we have seen like double, for example. So all the examples, whatever we have seen, for example, say add two numbers, what we did. So you pass input to the number one, which is the simple map, or else I don't want to do it here. Okay, I will add one more map step. Then I can pass. Okay, where is value? I can pass this value to sum like this. Okay, so by using this map, you can do this one step and you can do one more thing. So this is the mapping, which is this symbol. There is a one more this. What is that? Set a value. For example, for this value, I want to set some value. Then I can do this. I want to do it as a 56. You can still do that. Okay, so you can map from source to target and you can assign some value. This we can, other words, we can call it as a stubbing also. You can assign some value, and there is a one more drop. I don't want this variable to go to the next step, so that I can drop it. Okay, so the usage of the dropping is your memory will be less. So since you don't need those variables to be in your memory, you can clear them here itself. Whenever you complete using them, just clear them by dropping it. Okay, we have seen it here, the dropping. So I don't want number one, number two come to the next step. I drop them here. So you can do the drop also. Everything you will do it in the map. Map is nothing but once you select a variable. You can do the link up by selecting the source and target. You can do the link up. And if you have only one value and you want to assign some value to it, you can assign it. If you want to drop it, you can drop it. Okay, and there is a one more option. If you want to add a new variable, okay, we can add to the pipeline. So it's called as a temporary variable. If you want to use any temporary variable, you can use it here. And sometimes what happens, what are the temporary variables you created, if you don't use them immediately, for example, if I using the TET, so it will come to the next step, TET. But I created and I am not using it. Okay, this is a, if you are not using, but it's waste of creating, so it will be lost. You won't be able to see TET here, and if you go again, the TET will be gone. Whenever you use any temporary variable, it has to be, whenever you create a new temporary variable, it has to be used immediately. Otherwise, you lost that variable. Okay, and so you can like move and down the variables, left and right also. And there is an important concept, so we'll call it as a transformers. Okay, so if you want to do like you're receiving two inputs, okay, so the two inputs say like number one and number two, and you want to perform all operations of the mathematical operations, for example, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So how we'll do usually? So I will go to pub.math folder. Okay, so what I do, first I will add the math add-ins and then subtract-ins. Okay, and then I will do divide-ins, multiply-ins, and then I will do divide-ins. So I do 4 steps, but if you see, For all these 4 steps, I need only in 1 and in 2, but I want to receive 4 variables separately. Sum, subtraction, multiplication, and then division. Okay. So in this case, so what I'm writing 4 different flow steps. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and again how do I do? So I will do number 1, number 2. I know this is a add-ins, so value should go to sum. If I'm not able to see, you can copy and paste it, because output variables will be appeared only in the last step. If you want to use it anywhere in between, you have to copy paste them manually. Okay, so this is sum, and I don't need value again. Correct. Number 1, number 2, I drop them, and again I'll come to subtractants, and then number 1 to number 1, number 2 to number into, and then value to subtract. And again drop number 1, number 2, and then value. Okay, go to multiply ins, and again 2 in 1 into value to multiply. You are getting why I am copying this manually, right? I can see all those variables only in the last step. Okay, so division, multiply, sum, all these I will see only in the last step, because those are the output variables. The output variables, if I want to use anywhere in between, I have to do manually copy paste. I am running this service. Sum is 15, subtraction is 5, division is 2, and then multiplication 5 into 10 equal to 50. So what I am doing, I am writing 5 different flow steps in order to achieve this. But by using a single map step, okay, we can achieve all these 4 operations. We will see how. Okay, so I have map in 1 and in 2, and these are the output variables. So there is a concept called the transformers. By using the transformers, you can call different services within a single map step. So for example, I need mathematical operation of the add-ins, okay, and I need, see this symbol, and these are the existing, and if you want to browse your own also, you can browse. Subtractants, multipliends, dividends. Okay, so for this again number 1, number 2 will be in 1, number 2 will be your in 2, value has to go to sum. Okay, this is done. Subtractants. Because I am passing the same input to all the services. Okay, advantages over using the transformers. You don't need to write different flow steps. You can achieve all of them in a single map step. And if you see the earlier, like whenever I use like these variables again coming to my pipeline out, I am dropping them manually. But in this case, whatever the variable I'm mapping here inside, okay, inside your transformers, they won't come to your pipeline out. So okay, they will be clear here itself. So it will perform an operation and it will give you the end results. That's it. So by using these transformers, you don't need to write your code like in 100 lines. You can reduce the code. And one more thing is like you can reduce the memory also, because all the variables are not coming to your pipeline. Okay. And so see here, I am writing add-ins, subtractings, multipliends, dividends, this, right? So in this case, it will be performed like first add-ins operation will perform, then subtractings, multipliends, and dividends. But when you're writing the transformers, there is no way like they will run in the sequential way. So they can run in the random. I don't know first which one will run and second way which one will run. They all will run in the parallel. Okay, not sequential. So we'll see about the transformers more. Okay. Okay, so we can set a value, drop a value, link from one variable or other variable within the transform data during copying. So you can use the transformers to send the data. So there is a transformers are services invoked within a map operation. So these are executed independently. So if you see, so these steps, so these will run sequentially, but these are individual. It won't consider the next one. So it will run parallel, it will also run parallel. So they all run together. It's not like one by one. Okay, the output from one transformer cannot be used to the input of the another. So here, so for example, if I did not drop this value will come to next one and I can use it for the subtractants. But in this case, the transformer variables won't come to your pipeline, so you won't be able to use them in your for next transformer. For example, here, so you are passing this one, right? So this value you won't use it for the another transformer. So these are applicable only for within the same transformer. That's the meaning for this. The developers does not implicitly map pipeline variables to the input or output. For example, okay. See, there is a implicit map whenever there is a same name. But in the transformer case, so this implicit map won't come. Okay, even though variable names are same, you have to map them manually. Wait a second, it's going up. Okay, output variables are not automatically added to the pipeline. The pipeline, they won't come. Can be the most effective way to map, does not pass the whole pipeline. So, to your map step, you are passing only what required. You are not passing the entire pipeline data to your child service. And there are disadvantages for the transformers also. So the first disadvantage is, so if the transformer step got failed here, You don't know what exactly happened. In your catch block, you will see only transformer got failed. That message only. Okay. And they don't run parallel, so you don't know how, like, the order they're performing. What is the order they're performing? And so you should not use. So this transformer has to be used with only the, like, most of the times with the small simple operations, not the complex service. If you have written like 1,000 lines of complex code, and you should not call it in the transformers. Okay, the recommended way is to go with only the built-in services, not the customer developed services. Okay, so these are the examples. You can stub it, and you can do the transformer by using any of these. So next class we'll see the JDBC. Okay, I'll stop this session and then we'll see. Stop recording. Then we'll see whether I receive any email. Okay, let me know if you have any doubts now. I'll share you the video. I'll close the meeting. Yes.